Good evening, all, and welcome to the Tactical Devils. I'm your host, Jarvis, and with me tonight I have Mark Langridge, and we will try to break down this game we just witnessed. Man United drew against Wolverhampton Wanderers 1-1 on Old Trafford, at home, against a team who hasn't won a game this season. They have lost everything except two games that they have drawn. So, this is our level. We talk about Man United, we talk about top four, top five, Champions League, but we never seem to get it when the chance is there. We saw a goal, a lucky deflection, I would say, but it was even though a goal from Zirkzee, and we were 1-0 up. But corner kick against, and was it Krejci or someone, the centre back, scored for Wolves. So the game ended 1-1. We were toothless. I think Amorim failed with his tactics. I think a lot of these players let us down. And, another missed opportunity, as Tyrone Williams is saying. So, guys, girls, Mark and I will break down the game. I have a lot of live footage. We will go in analysis, deep, in-depth analysis. I have the tactical board for you. I will try to explain how Man United did and why. So, guys, let's just have a conversation. Keep it civilized, but we will be back after the intro. So smash the like, and we will see you in a sec. Yes, boom, 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 and we are live with the Tactical Devils. I'm angry, I'm disappointed, I'm feeling down right now. I felt that we should have won this game. This was our chance. 3 points is the only acceptable outcome from a game like this. But then again, we are down to the bone. I'm not going to give anyone any excuses, but I'm just saying we're down to the bone. We had to play a lot of these youngsters, and the first teamers that we should rely upon lets us down game after game. I'm so disappointed today by a player like Zirkzee, even though he scored. I'm so disappointed with a player like Cunha. I'm disappointed with a lot of these guys. I don't like it. I'm not going to sit here and scapegoat anyone. It's always a team effort, but some of these players let us down. And again, I think Amorim's in-game management is not good enough. I don't think he does enough to try to win the game. But he's not on the pitch, so I don't know. But I want to say hi to everybody before we go to Mark and have his reaction. I just want to say hi to everybody who's tuned in. Tom Porter, Danny B is here. Who else? I am Titanium. Sebastian, big up, my good old friend. Whoops is here. Alien Tenno, big up, Peter. Good to see you. We have Kev, Tyrone, Red Devil Radar, Dave 147, Andrew McCollins, all of you guys. If I haven't shouted, Trafford Elite, big up. So if I haven't shouted out your names, I'm sorry, but let's get into the game. So Mark, unmute yourself and have your say. You're allowed to have a rant.
First off, I'm going to say that disappointed is an understatement. Let's start with a bit of praise. Like Wolves, over recent weeks, they've been improving week on week, right? They may be bottom of the league, but Arsenal only beaten by an own goal. Liverpool, it was 2-1, right? So they've obviously been getting better. But that doesn't excuse what went on that pitch tonight. I don't understand why we didn't play. Well, Jarvis, we spoke about it last night. We spoke about multiple different formations. We pretty much called the starting lineup, said Zirkzee would play. by half time, before we even subs went, I went, Zirkzee's off at half time. I knew he wasn't coming back out for the second half. He was absolute fucking shit. Yet again on the pitch. He scores a shocker of a goal. I thought Casemiro's deflected goal was bad against Fulham. That was worse. Because he bounces it into the floor, which is just horrendous shooting. But this is actually, for the first time, I'm going to say this is on the manager. But this is not on the manager like I'm seeing the chat flowing. I'm sort of reading it, and I can't disagree with anyone. I think everyone's right because everyone's frustrated. But there's such a thing as overthinking, right? He played 4 at the back because of the way they pressed last Newcastle. And I'm like, he changes the team to suit how the other team is playing. That's not the United way. We don't match up to the other team. The other team matches up to us. We attack with front foot. Like, yes, you have to be aware of their tactics, but you batter them. You keep pushing forward like we did in the first half. And then I knew Zirkzee was off. I pretty much called every sub apart from, I was saying to you, get Cunha off that pitch because he was horrendous. And I will come back to why when he's horrendous when you probably bring up some clips because you must have them. And it's quite a simple reason and it's quite common. But I thought, get him off, get Obi on. But I said Mantaro would come on and play in this game because it suited him. But as a right winger, not in the right sided 10. That's not his position.
100%.
It's like you said, if you want a 10, play Lacey. But he's too weak. And I said that he was too weak against this Wolves side. Our shooting was shit. I think someone said on there we've had over 20 shots now for Sesko and he scored 2 goals. 20 shots on goal, and that was growing throughout the game for 2 goals. That's one. We're saying greater than 1 in 10 he scores. And he should have scored tonight. He was unlucky with the header against the post. Again, he needs one to get a deflection going and get him going again. You know, it's a nightmare. But we said if you play Zirkzee and Sesko, you've got to fill the box with crosses. They didn't come. You know, they get in the box and the crosses didn't come. So this is all on the manager's tactics for the first time. And I don't want to go on too much of a rant because I'm more angry, but I'm more disappointed for we took a big step forward against Newcastle and there was a buzz going into that ground today, you know, into the second half. But because those youngsters came on and done a job and they fought for the badge. And I really feel like United cannot play at home. Like, we're just scared. Like 9 times out of 10, we look scared when we play football.
Yeah, but I liked Old Trafford today. The crowd was up for it. They were cheering attack. You could hear the excitement. They tried their best. So the place can't blame on the home crowd. You know, they
no,
really
I'm not blaming the crowd. I'm blaming the fans. I'm blaming the players. Like they're there and they're like
100%.
Like,
100%.
We've got to do this. I've got to do this. I've got to perform. It's like, do you know what? Just go out and play football. We back you to play football. The performance comes by playing as a team. And again, it seems like in the final third, we turned into individuals today.
Yeah, you know, but again, you know, for the rest of you guys, Mark and I and Stu and the rest of the Tactical Devils team are in a group chat, and you know, during the game we comment and you know we talk about the game, and I saw right away what we were trying to do, but it didn't work. You know, I liked the idea, but I didn't like the execution, how we did it. And you know, I think we tried to accommodate Zirkzee coming on the pitch. I think we tried. And unfortunately, I think we gave Cunha a little bit too much freedom because of this. I think Amorim thought the back three, it was almost like a 3-2-5 at times. And we had even Luke Shaw overlapping, being an extra man. So we were down to a 3-1-6, so only Casemiro holding, Ugarte going forward. So, you know, in a way, you know, that's okay. But Wolves, they play with a stable 3-5-2 formation. They defend with 7 guys at times. They are comfortable sitting in defense. I think the Wolves center backs were really good, especially Mosquera, the big guy. I think he was amazing today. We couldn't break him down. But from a tactical point of view, let me just bring up the. First, I wanna read out. We have a super chat already coming in from a disappointed Bilal, and he's speaking his mind and say sack the manager, the board, and players. And I know where that's coming from, Bilal. It's coming from a place of frustration, and we have been through so much as Man United fans, and I think we are heading to rock bottom right at the moment. This is not good enough. How are we supposed to compete for Europe even?
Well, Chelsea drew. We've just missed yet another sitter. We pick up points like we pick up goals. When it's an easy tap in, we don't take it.
Yeah,
because Chelsea dropped the points, and all we had to do was get the win.
All we had to do was to get the win, but we couldn't.
Against the team bottom of the league with 2 points, almost minus 30 goal difference.
Do you know Wolves has the third worst Premier League record in history? In the history
and
of
they're on
Premier
their way
League.
to setting a new record because this 2 points is something different.
It's so disappointing. But let's just bring out the tactical board. I know that's why you're here. We can name and shame everybody, but let's just start with the big man himself, Rúben Amorim, and how I saw him setting up this team. So again, thank you, Bilal, for the super chat. But Wolves, they set up in a 3-5-2 formation. They had 2 strikers, Wang and Arukadare. Wang being the guy a little bit behind, and Arukadare the big guy a little bit forward. So almost like a 3-5-1-1 formation at times. But when they went into attack, I think they tried. They were good on the breaks, and they put us under fire a couple of times. But with us, Amorim went back into the 3-4-2-1 formation. That's okay, but he had a little tweak this time, and that was actually almost at times playing with 3 strikers. So I think the plan was to try to pin them down, and we were really high with our wingbacks. So we had, for example, Dorgu and Dallo really high up the pitch, and behind that we had the rest defense of 5 guys with Casemiro, Ugarte, Martinez, and Luke Shaw. So in a way, it felt like this was the game plan. But the only problem was it was so easy for Wolves to play through our first line of press because they were really passive. They were really, really flat, I would say, at times. And they played in behind our pivot. So again, and then they stretched it out, and also Casemiro and Ugarte was too flat. So we created a big space, in between here. And Wolves, they exploited us time after time when they attacked. But I mainly blame Zirkzee and Cunha. I think they were so poor in defending. They had no intensity. And when Wolves played through our first line, we were overloaded, so we needed to fall back, and we reverted into a really deep and passive back 5, and 2 guys in front of them, and we had 3 guys.
But they won't be able to push us back, so he didn't practice this week. Didn't practice defending. That's what it felt like.
They pushed us back, and we had Zirkzee and Cunha, just walking around, and Sesko being the number 9, and Ugarte. So again, why? And I think this is the reason why Amorim took Zirkzee off at half time, even after scoring a goal. So, Mark, in my instant assessment of how I saw things, do you think this is right?
I would almost say that we left Zirkzee up front and Sesko came back because I think Sesko ended up seeing the danger and running past him.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't think I agree with you. I don't think that's through choice because that's not what Sesko's been told to do if that was Mbeumo or anyone else playing in the 10. And he certainly didn't do it in the second half once Zirkzee was off. No, Jarvis, it felt like we played with 9 men at times. And Zirkzee and Cunha, either they were given a free role or they just didn't give a shit today. It was the Zirkzee and Sesko, Cunha show. Cunha got the ball. All he did was run with it. He's a great runner with the ball, but you don't need to show the team you've left that you're the be all and end all. Just link the play, and that's what he's been doing. He's getting a little bit too Billy Big Bollocks, as we call it, on the thing. Like, I'm at Man United now. Look at me. I'll pick the ball up. I'll run. You've scored a couple of goals. Great. I want more assists out of you. You're playing in the 10. You know, I want more assists than goals. I want Sesko scoring goals. And Zirkzee, well, we called it last night, Jarvis. We said he's lazy. You don't know what you're going to get from him.
Well, we knew what we were going to get. We knew that he was going to put in a performance like this, even though it was a brilliant goal in a way. You know, he's creative. He's good with the back against the goal. He has the feet. He knows how to find the small openings. You know, he's a creative player, but not in this Amorim system. You know, we are sacrificing too much by putting a player like him into this system, and you know, it breaks down our entire structure at times.
Well, if you look at his goal, it's a prime example of what you get because they showed it really. His turn to get the shot, absolutely superb. Little foot roll, nice and quick. He's got really good feet for a tall guy. He left the defenders for dead. And you're like, yeah, great turn. And then he bounces it into the floor, hits a player, and it goes in the other corner. Literally, it couldn't sum Sesko up any better. You just don't know what he's going to do. You know, and that's really how the defender. He mishit a shot that deflects and goes in. That's the kind of luck we need Sesko to be having. That's what I'm saying. And it's gone to Zirkzee, who's out the door and will never put on a Man United shirt again. You know, we'll loan him out and we'll get rid of him in the summer because he's failed. You know, that's his 2 years up.
If you only were so lucky. You know, you never know with these Man United players. They seem to have a special ability to cling on for a lifetime. You know, that's the thing. And I'm baffled. You know, I'm speechless when it comes to this Man United team by far. But you know, I feel that a lot of you guys are disappointed. I see a lot of so-called negative comments, but you know, it's this is what it is. You know, it's a therapy session for us. And also, you know, we played with the three strikers and the high pressing wing backs. And you know, I like the idea. I know what we were trying to do, but for us to do that, you need to have intensity. You need to have intensity all the time, and you need to run. You need to push. And we didn't have Mbeumo on the pitch. We didn't have Mason Mount. He was sorely missed. And you know, dare I say it, even Bruno at times. You know, we need someone who have a little bit more intensity. And
well, their right winger, he was the fastest man in Serie A last year. He was the fastest player, and he pinned Dorgu back and Luke Shaw. So we really had to make. If we came down there, we had to make it work because we weren't going to. He'd get away from us, and I thought we dealt with him really well. And those two probably were our best performances tonight. I think on the left hand side. Like maybe the final ball wasn't great because of his pace, he'd get back and double team very fast. So and I thought Luke Shaw put some great balls in from deep, and they just didn't have enough on it to when Sesko got the headers off from the penalty spot. You know, he's flicking it, the ball's coming from behind him. It's got to be a perfect header. But yeah, intensity. I was just looking back through our messages while you were talking about that, and I'm going at 9:06. So literally on the stroke of half time, I wrote Zirkzee off, bring on Obi, play 4-4-2. And I said, most likely he'll do that around the 60th minute. Well, funny enough, we made changes on the 62nd minute. And Zirkzee came off on the stroke of half time for Fletcher, which I didn't think. Fletcher's not a 10. I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. Is he changing formation to 4-4-2? Put Cunha up top. Well, it looked like he changed it and then changed it back, or people weren't doing as they were told.
We were in a hybrid. We didn't play like a 3-5, 3-4-2-1 exactly, because Luke Shaw was bombing on his left side. Dorgo was a little bit higher. So, in a way, you can say it was a 4-4-2 in a way. Like something like this.
Like a 4-4-2 narrow without wingers. Or definitely
lopsided. We were on Cunha and Dorgo's side, attacking, and Zirkzee and Sesko wandering. So in a way, but
I'm not understanding the chat here who's saying Casemiro was struggling. Casemiro wasn't struggling. Casemiro was being constantly fouled, and the ref wasn't blowing his whistle. So was Cunha. I don't think they were struggling. They were frustrated.
Cunha, why the hell do you lay around the floor like a crybaby, waving your arms because the referee don't give you a free kick?
Because your captain does it.
How old are you? How old is
Cunha?
26 years old. Is he 26?
Yeah, but the captain doesn't.
Yeah, but why do we have a tantrum every time he feels he should have a free kick?
Yeah, everyone goes, that's the Latin players do that. But
you're a coach yourself. What do you say to players who do it like that?
I'd pull them off the pitch.
And laugh at them.
I'd pull them off the pitch.
Get off the pitch.
Because while you're laying around and they're counter-attacking, you potentially are costing me a goal. But all the time the captain does it, the rest of the team are allowed to do it. That's simple. That's rules of football. You set the standards. You set the example. So I will never pull one of our players up until our captain stops doing that. And even the fact the captain sort of knows he does it and now says it as a comment is ridiculous, because Cunha every 2 minutes, ref, it's a foul. And they were fouls though. But the whistle's not blown. Get up, win me the ball back. Or I'll tell you what, get up and kick the guy and get a yellow card for it.
Yeah,
take your frustration out on it.
I agree.
So, but
it's about what you're showing for every time you have a tantrum. Do you really think the referee will give you a free kick next time?
No, he's going to laugh at you more.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to look at you thinking you're diving. But going back to the Casemiro thing, because of Sesko, because of Cunha, not tracking back and helping that box midfield, Ugarte and Casemiro got overrun. So these people saying they've had a bad game, what kind of game are you expecting to have when they're going 2v1 at all times?
Yeah, I don't think Casemiro had a bad game. I think he had a good game. 41 out of 49 passes, 84% pass accuracy.
It seems that the United fans in the chat maybe tonight are looking for people to blame. There's only one person tonight, and that was the manager, and that's coming from me, and I've defended the manager a lot. He got the tactics really, really wrong, and he didn't change them quick enough.
No.
As he changed the tactics, Wolves had already changed their tactics. So he was one step behind at all times.
Garner tonight, goal and assist.
Yeah. And?
Well, I'm just saying.
And he Welbeck hit the bar with a penalty, and we're talking about potentially bringing him back because he tried a Panenka when he could have put his team level. So...
this is a little bit of constructive criticism of Casemiro. Only last 60 minutes before his legs is gone. So... you might be right. We know that.
We've spoken about many a time, and he does. He normally picks up his yellow card and gets subbed off around 60, 65 minutes. That is facts.
But multiple times lost the ball.
He didn't. Jarvis just said he completed 61 of 67 passes. So where did he multiply lose the ball?
He was dispossessed a couple of times, because he was too slow on the ball. Especially on the transitions, he didn't know what to do because he had no movement in front of him, But
I saw one of them, Jarvis. I think it was the defender came back, took it off as he's running forward, and then he turned around and go, "What am I meant to do? I can't pass it to any of you. You're double marked. So what's he going to do? Do a Bruno and just smash it to the corner flag and hope someone runs onto it?
Yeah.
Just to retain the ball. It's other players have got to get up. if we're running forward, that's not Casemiro's job. That's Ugarte's job. That's Cunha's job. Come get me the ball off them. Stop running away from me. If you were playing football, you'd go mental for players. All your players are running away from you when you're carrying the ball forward. Because you want an option. You've got to have someone showing for feet, and you've got to have someone going long. And everyone was going long. It was just, I didn't like it. I didn't like that. And Casemiro's been one of our best players, and I don't like people going in on him just because he gets overrun. We know he's slow, so play to our strengths. If he's slow but he moves the ball well, give him the ball and don't make him run with it.
Yeah.
Jarvis, are you going to go running in an open age football team? No, you're going to give it to the younger players to do the running.
I'm not running.
No,
but I'm doing the job.
The tactics were really, really poor, and I think from experience, you confuse the players. 1 week we're playing this way, 1 week we're playing that way. We need to play our way and let people counter us and improve week on week playing our way. It was amazing to hear attack being cheered tonight, right?
It was.
That's what we want to hear. But if you notice, it's being attack, and we're passing the ball slowly around.
Yeah.
In the first half, we started moving it really quickly from side to side around the edge of the box.
Yes, we had a couple of attacks that were really good, really good, and you know, I liked what we did. I have a clip here. It's from the where is it? Yeah, here it is. We can play this and have a look. So this one I really liked. This is one of the best attacks during the full game. So we are on the ball, we won it, and trying to play out from the back. You see, we play 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. We set up in triangles and just passes the ball around the Wolves this player. Yeah. And at this point, you know,
that ball there to Zirkzee, he was standing still where everyone else was moving. He'd been better off stepping over it and letting the runner in behind him have it.
Yeah. So again, let's just play through it. Zirkzee's on the ball. He plays it over to Dorgu. And you know, a lot of the times in this attack, and I want you to have a look at Luke Shaw. Who's bombing on, and he was overlapping all the time, and because of this, the fullback or wingback of what's his name, Tachua, I think his name is. He couldn't press aggressively against Dorgu. He needed to keep his space and be a little bit passive, because you know the pass out to Luke Shaw was always an option. So he needed to be able to run outside if needed. So again, I think Luke Shaw today, he was brilliantly, especially in the first half. You know, those overlaps was so vital in Dorgu's game, but. You know, Dorgu is poor. You know, he's always want to go in, but sometimes he got the pass right. Now the pass comes into he took the shot himself. So, but again, you know,
deflection. That was actually in the bottom corner. Without the little touch, it was bottom corner. Keeper probably puts an arm out, and we might get a tap in off of it. So he's unlucky there.
Yeah, but again, you know what I'm trying to say is we had a couple of good attacks. You know, it wasn't all bad.
Yeah. No, and you're right. And you look how that started. That started with playing through their press, quick 1-2 touch passing, switch your play, and he's in. His wave once on the way back. That's how we should be playing. That's the United way. Quick play, move the ball. Sean, I feel for you. Obviously, coming all the way over here and having to watch that. It's not on. But you probably got more of a feel for the players, especially with your background and mentality now, watching that and seeing their body language when they're off the ball.
Yeah,
that's what I can't wait to hear your breakdown of that game from what you saw pitch side. So it will be really interesting to hear that when you do it.
Yeah. But you know, us dropping down and how we defended, we were too deep. We didn't have no aggression, so we let Wolves have the ball in a lot of in long periods of the game, and you know they they pressed us really deep into our box. So, again,
Well, I'm going to say something, Jarvis,
Yeah,
and
okay, please.
people might not like this. We made a real big mistake playing 3 left-footed centre backs in a back three, because, as you said last night, puts all the passing lanes over to our right as a natural passing lane. Aidan Heaven ends up getting taken off, and I said in our chat, didn't I? What's the right call? We needed a right-sided centre back. We needed a right-footed centre back. It was pointless. We couldn't get the ball to go the other way when playing out, and without going long. And I was like, Heaven's been superb. We've moved him out of the central centre back where he's been superb because we brought Martinez back in, which is the right thing to do. But hang on, everyone goes, I'm a coach. Let's play Dalot right-sided of a back three. Let's play Heaven in the middle, Martinez on the left, and put Luke Shaw left wing back.
Yeah.
That to me makes more sense than tinkering with the system and bringing on untried players like Mantaro for his first ever cap, things like that. That's what you do first. And you say, step up. I need you to do that for me tonight. Because these guys are young and haven't got the experience.
What worked well in the Newcastle game, especially?
Dorgo on the right.
Dorgo on the right, yeah. So why change it? That's my first instance, my first thought. Because Dorgo, he had a decent game today, but he always likes to cut inside, and when he cuts inside from the left-hand side, he's on his weaker foot, and he doesn't know what to do.
And Jarvis, I was heartbroken for him when he scores, and he's just offside, and literally it's a yard offside, and he was on the run, so it's not like you can say check his run, because when you watch it through, when we get to that clip, I don't know if you've got it, he can't check his run because he's in stride, and it's actually Sesko that got held up getting the shot off. If Sesko gets the shot off on time, he's onside. So, yeah, you're right. The Dorgu thing is one of the biggest mistakes they made, and we know Dalot can play on the left.
But why is Amorim doing this? Why is he overthinking, all the time and trying to be too clever?
He's thinking, look how they do this, look how they do that, instead of making the other team look. Okay, if I'm a coach and I don't know what we do, you're you, Jarvis. You don't know what we do week in, week out. These guys in the chat are saying we don't know what our system, what is our tactic. There's no way the other team can set up for how we're going to play, and yet we're setting up for how they're going to play.
That's the thing, and if you are a Man United manager, I think we have a certain way of style or principles of play. And we talked about these comments. We still have our principles of play, but we don't. The work rate, how we drop down in defense. What are we doing on the pitch? And this is why I think we see these inconsistent performances all the time. And he talks about principles, but where's the principles? I don't see them. That's my biggest problem with this. I don't see a consistency in how we do things. Sometimes we do it, other times not. And the famous words of Amorim is this one.
Moments we play good, sometimes we play bad.
And this is Amorim for you. And where's the confidence as a Man United manager or head coach, if you want to call him that? Where's his confidence? Going in at home against Wolves. You want to go in there, you want to dominate, you want to be the best team, you want to win this game, but you got to get your guys up for it. You got to get him sharp, you got to get him ready for the kill.
See, I think that this is a different, maybe it's an age thing, maybe it's different mentalities, definitely. But why do I need the manager to get me up for putting on a Man United shirt and walking out onto Old Trafford? Why do I need that? I don't need that ever. I wake up, I'm living a dream. I wake up
you.
And I need to get out there and play. But that's this whole thing.
I think this is we are heading to somewhere. I like this comment. Amorim shit scared.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any confidence when it comes to coaching. I think he have lost too many games, and he tries to overthink. He tries to adjust everything. He doesn't go with the flow. What works, he doesn't understand. He doesn't see. What works. Dorgu works. By slump, Dorgu worked. and
well,
now we want to revert.
Okay, so let's flip that and not be a United fan for 2 seconds.
Okay.
But then basically, Man United got lucky and fell upon a forced formation on them against Newcastle and managed to get out there with a 1-0 win and run all the way back home, because then that was an absolute fluke, and yet we were given credit. So are we now further back behind, if that's what we believe, from what we thought we were? Are we not making strides forward? Were we just purely lucky and Newcastle couldn't hit a barn door?
Yeah.
It depends how you want to look at it.
But I think the back four really worked well against Newcastle. We looked more solid as a unit. I think the sum total of the 11 players worked better with a back four.
Yeah. Well, you tell me what football club doesn't tend to have a back four? If I gave you 100 clubs, but if I gave you 100 clubs, like you could pick 100 clubs, how many would have a back three? 2, 3, 4, less than 10. No matter what, it'd be less than 10 of the top clubs in Europe. Like if you go through the entire Champions League current squads, I think Napoli, a couple of the Italian sides play back three. That's it.
Yeah.
And obviously Sporting.
Atalanta.
Yeah. Do you see what I mean? It's like the norm is to play against four. And the norm is to grow up. I told you, our youth team play 4 at the back. They play 4-3-3. So even stepping out and stepping into a squad where you're not playing that formation, it's suicide. It's career suicide for a youngster. I've got to step up. I've got to make an impression. Oh, yeah, by the way, you're playing this role. I've never played there in my life. Well, today you are.
Yeah.
Go on, off you go. Oh, by the way, it's live on Sky, and you've got a couple of million people watching you. Feel that pressure. Yeah.
Hundreds.
It probably isn't a couple. It's Man United. There's a lot of games on tonight. There's better games to watch.
Yeah.
Especially Arsenal, Aston Villa. But see, that's what confused me. So Aston Villa gets smashed by Arsenal, and they barely scrape past us. The results aren't making sense, are they, to the performances?
No. Where are we at the table at the moment? How are we looking after the night?
We stay put, didn't we? Because Chelsea drew, we drew.
I haven't checked.
Aston Villa lost.
And by the way, guys, if there's any comments from Amorim, let me know. Put them in the comments so I can read them out, because I haven't seen the interview after the game. We always go live right away. So
yeah, we stayed in 6th, Jarvis. There's no change to the table. Arsenal, City, Villa, Liverpool, Chelsea, United, and we should have jumped above Chelsea. And I don't know if that would have put us in 4th or not. It's not right.
Okay. Here we go. I can bring it up. We can have a look together and see where we are. So at the moment, Arsenal sit on top. We have City, Aston Villa, Liverpool, Chelsea on 5th with 30 points, and we are 6th on 30 points. So again, it's not looking too bad, going into the new year, but
no, we're still in touching distance. But again, it
could have been 5th in this point.
Jarvis, there is a constant theme here. Every time we can make that step, we fuck up. And that's the bit in the back of my head going, that's not the manager. That's not on the manager.
No.
Because it doesn't matter what style of team we come up against. We've just played the bottom team. We've played mid-table teams. Yeah. But yet when there's less pressure on us, as in we could go in 5th because we're playing first, we win. But if we play last, we lose or draw.
Yeah.
We can't get that win because it's like.
But do you think it's the pressure? Do you think the players feel the pressure? Now we are really going to do it. Look at us now. If we only, and one of my clubs, Bodø Glimt, that I follow really, really tight. They have from a board level written down as one of the rules of the club, and you're not allowed to think results. You're not allowed to mention results. It's all about performance all the time. 100% of the year, day in, day out. You're not allowed to talk about results. You're not allowed to say we won 3-1. You're going only to talk about what happened, what you did, what you did that was good, and constructive footballing talk. It's kind of strange because they have a mindset. They qualified for Champions League. I know they are not the best team in the Champions League, but at least they qualified. They are from the north. They are from a small city. 50,000 people live there. They have no money. And either way, they managed to fight with the big guys.
Yeah, and it is on mentality. So I said to you, we could play 4-4-2 with the starting lineup we had, didn't I? Last night we basically said what formation. Just by bringing Zirkzee in for Mount, we said we could play 3 different formations. We could play the formation we turned out tonight. We could play 4-4-2, 4-4-1-1, whichever way you wanted to interpret that, or we could play 4-3-3. With just by changing one player in our squad. So I'm going to pose this to the chat, and you can all come back while we talk throughout. If we had played 4-4-2 and we played exactly the way we wanted to against Newcastle, which we all loved, and we still walked off with a 1-1 draw tonight, would that be on Amorim? Would that be on the players? Because if we played the formation that we played against Newcastle, which we were all raving about only a few days before, and we get the same result. We play 3-5-2 against most teams, and we've got results. Not enough, but we wouldn't be where we are in the league. You keep going, but other teams have dropped points. Well, that's football, isn't it? There can only be one winner, or you drop points with a draw. So, of course, teams are going to drop points. The amount of home wins, as this is stated.
Yeah, look at this. Tom Porter's comments. Four last home games.
Yep. Everton drawn with West Ham. So Everton, more than beatable. West Ham, more than beatable. Could have moved up the league. I think the West Ham game, we could have gone second at that point. The 1-1 draw with Bournemouth could have moved up. 4-4 with Bournemouth. And now with Wolves, we would have been joint fourth because of Chelsea dropping points. I think actually we would have gone above Liverpool into fourth because I think we got a better goal difference. And there's been a bloody long time since we said that. So every time they're not teams we should be losing or drawing to. But I tell you who used to do that: Liverpool. Liverpool before Jurgen Klopp. When Jurgen Klopp was building, he used to beat City, beat us, but lose to the bottom of the league sides because mentality changes. Okay? Mentality changes on how that player approaches that game. It takes one player to have a bad mentality for the game. I saw at least 2 out there tonight who have bad mentalities. One wanted to prove to everyone and his mum that he'd made the right choice. And one didn't really want to get involved because he wants his loan. So just so you all know, there was no way he's injured because we couldn't risk him getting injured because his loan would be cancelled and he has to stay with us. I was talking about this on my preview. So that's why I said it would be lucky if he doesn't get injured.
So you reckon it was pre-planned that he was only going to play the first half?
So when you watch him, you'll watch the game back. I know what you're like, Jarvis. You'll watch the game back. Watch 100%. Before the kickoff. Watch when they're all talking to each other. And Luke Shaw says something to him, like basically, and the way he's looking around, like breathe it in, deep breath. That means he's either nervous or breathe it in. This is your last game. Take in the atmosphere. Remember this. Because that's what you would say to a player. If you're a decent footballer and you have been at the club, we've seen many a player go, you'll be like, remember this moment. If you want to come back to the club, remember this moment. So there was obviously spoken about it. You just said we don't talk about results. They're definitely talking about a loan move because it's in the media. Yeah. And it's out the window, isn't it? If he got flattened in a tackle, Like that Cunha tackle, that how the hell the ref didn't blow when he got two-man
like
slammed.
the double, he was.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. The ref did not help us tonight. He was horrendous.
No, they didn't. Yeah, that's really
if Zirkzee had got that, then as a club we were screwed. So that's why I said he probably didn't play originally, didn't I? I said I wouldn't risk it as a manager, but we got no choice.
Yeah.
So
Mark, we have a lot of good comments and ITN, CBM Moments, FC, Bruno, Maguire, Diallo, and Bumo, possibly Mount. Too, they just score at any time, and then now we don't have it. So you see, we are just a few clear chances. Excuse Sesko, and for me, I think Sesko had a good game today.
He had a really good game.
I'm not looking at this. I'm looking at this movement, and he had a lot of good movements all the time, as I see it, as a striker. I criticized Rasmus Højlund a lot last season because he doesn't know how to move as a striker. But Sesko, he had a lot of good diagonal runs today, both inside the box and outside the box, and deep runs and short runs. But we didn't play him. We played him once, I believe, and that was the one that when Dorgu had that goal disallowed. Well, we had many chances, and Dorgu, he could even.
You sent me that picture of Dorgu, who I totally agreed. I was like, oh, just kill it. If you just literally kill that ball instead of trying to hit the shot, Sesko was in, and it would have been on his left foot to finish, and it would have been a tap in. But
yeah, we can show that clip so we can get everybody involved. So guys, look at this chance. This is what I talk about when we talk about movement. So in this instance, I need to slow it down a little bit actually, because everything happens so fast in this clip. Let's just see where we are. So we have Dorgu on the ball and we have Sesko on the ball. I don't know if you can see it. It's very blurry at the moment. But this is Sesko and this is Dorgu. So Sesko is inviting for a run in behind this way, and Dorgu takes the shot. But he should have just played the through ball to Sesko and he would have been clear. So again, look at him waving his arms. And Dorgu just takes the shot. So for me, that's poor decision making.
And I agree. But that's a decision making of someone who scored in the last game and now wants to get another goal. Here, this is what you sent me.
Look at his arms. He wants the ball.
But look at Dorgu's arms.
You're 2 against 1 against a central centre back. It's a clear cut. I'm 100% sure if that was Martin Ødegaard or Kevin De Bruyne or anyone else than Dorgu, they would have seen it.
But you can see from his body shape, he's striking that ball. As those arms are out on that run, he's striking the ball. So he only had one thought in his mind. But that's an intelligent and an experienced player who can quickly readjust their whole body and just stab it with the inside of their foot, pull all the power out the shot and just play it in. It's just got to roll past that centre back. But if as it rolls on from there, I think the defender gets low to the ground and would have blocked if it was a low shot. So if it's a low shot and he blocks it, he also blocks the pass because he throws himself at the ball. So it might not have got there, but I do agree that's the kind of ball we need to be seeing more of. Because that's a great run on the blind side of the defender. He's lost his defender, who's just out of shot. There, you can see just on his shoulder, out of shot.
But you see, he's not controlling the ball yet, and Sesko is already doing his run. He sees the pocket.
Yeah,
sees the pocket. He's waving his arms. It's super clear for the striker, but Dorgu doesn't understand.
But this is what I mean. If he slid that, if he pulls out of that and just toes it or whatever. I think the defender maybe cuts it, but you're right. It should have been an attempted pass. I totally agree. And as a striker, I would have been going mental at him because he's clean through on it in the 18-yard box.
My point with this is people can criticize Sesko for a lot of things, but his movement is crisp. It's really good from a striker point of view.
Yeah, since he's come back from that injury,
there's no service actually.
Yeah. I feel like while injured, he was learning, which is the way you should be. I always think about these players who, and it's been spoken about by pros now, they come in and they don't go out on the training pitch after they've had their treatment. They come in, get their treatment, and they go home or they go sit in the pool or they don't still learn from what's going on. Whereas Amorim sort alluded for a lot of the players to do this, because he said about Bruno right now, he's having his treatment and then he's standing out on the side of the pitch shouting at the players, work harder, do this.
Yeah.
So
I just want to clarify, ITN. I'm not singling out Dogu because of this. I'm trying to show you how Sesko is making brilliant runs. Because I know Dogu is not the type, he's not nonchalant enough to pass the ball in. He doesn't understand. So
well, I'll tell you something, literally a left back, Roberto Carlos. Gary Neville's literally a right back. He would have played that ball in. So you were just talking about.
My point wasn't about singling out Dogu. My point was Sesko's brilliant runs.
No, I'm just saying. But the comment is Dogu's literally a left back. Like a left back can't play a pass, a sneaky pass, a reverse pass in. When we've got a centre back,
but he's our left back. That's where he comes from. I interpret this in the best way possible. And also, but when we did, look at this. I come in a little bit late in this clip, but Sesko is already here, and he came from this position and making the diagonal run because he knows. And here, Casemiro finds him.
Casemiro played him in with some great passes. Here, good attempted turn. And do you see what I mean? Dorgu's on the run and the shot is
this is the offside goal. So again, it was marginal. I'm not sure how many centimeters we are talking about, but not much.
Oh, well, they said it was less than a yard, so less than a foot offside. Because of the player who slipped as well, we also had a penalty check on that. Apparently, he slipped, so therefore it wasn't a penalty. Well, last time I checked, it doesn't matter what you do on the pitch. If you impede a player, it's a foul. The rule just changes when you're in the penalty box these days. So you jump up and you push someone in the middle of the pitch in the back, that's a foul. But if you do it in a penalty box, no, it's not a foul. You're competing for the ball.
Again, this is what I felt we lacked a lot of the time in this game, and as I said, it's about the through balls, because Sesko had brilliant movements. If I look back in this game, I will see it at least 5-6 times, I believe.
That ball from Casemiro outside of Casemiro's foot, and Sesko gets the header and he heads it down into the ground.
Yeah,
I was like, just control it and smash it. You can take it on the chest. He sort of rushed the header, and it was sort of like the header of someone who's too tall. Do you know what I mean? He couldn't throw himself at it, and he just sort of heads it down. I thought the keeper's positioning was very good all night. Everything seemed to drop into his hands.
It's a good segue talking about goalkeepers, because I believe Senne Lammens today was outstanding. I think he's a really good goalkeeper for being a young guy, playing for Man United in the Premier League. And he proves to me that he has the concentration, he has the abilities. And, in a couple of years, he will probably be one of the best, if not the best goalkeeper in the Premier League. I see his ceiling, his potential is it's so high. He could become the best.
Absolutely. That double save where he gets his hand down and then gets it off of the guy's foot. I can't even explain that. He could see the feet coming at him where the guy's throwing himself at the ball to score. And nothing matters apart from getting that hand there and then flicking it away. That is top goalkeeping, because you're putting your whole body on the line. Even the one with his foot on the angle that he saves with his feet. I think that's this one, isn't it?
This is the one with the double save.
This is a double save.
Yeah, and how quickly he's up and just grabs the ball a little bit, touches it. So
I thought it was his top hand. He scoops it away, but he doesn't. He scoops it down and then away with the low hand. It got better as they zoomed in on it.
Yeah, I think this is top class, world class, I would say. Let's look at it once more. We can slow it a little bit down and just enjoy Senne Lammens, ladies and gentlemen. Look how quickly he reacts, and he just scoops the ball. But he doesn't take it with him, it just like bounces it.
It was almost like a sort of handball kind of save, very striker-less, where he's moving it down, knowing he can't. He's at full stretch. He hasn't, because his arm's all the way up. He hasn't got the power. So he just touches it down. A bit like when you see the keepers, they pad the ball down and catch it on the second one. It was almost like, I knocked that down. And I think he was trying to bring it down with his hand to get two hands on it. And that's why he flicks it away. But it doesn't matter. Whatever he did, he used every inch of his body to keep it out. And that's where I agree with you, that he shows a natural ability, because that's natural. You know, you can't teach that kind of movement. That's
no.
What I will say, because I want him to improve, and I hope every time something happens, he learns from it. He didn't make a mistake tonight, but he could have done better for the goal.
I think you're almost a little bit too harsh. You know,
No. As in, what he will be told by his goalkeeping coach will be, could we have moved our feet quicker? Could we have got more power into the dive? And I haven't seen it enough times to see how much of his body momentum's going to the right. So when he heads it, he can't move and he throws himself. Because if my momentum's going right and I have to throw myself full length, it's sort of like a flop. You just don't get any momentum, and you get about an inch, 2 inches sort of dive power. But if he can readjust that body, take a couple of micro steps and throw himself, he should get all the way across the goal. So that's something for him to improve. Because we said about his bouncing. Do you remember with the free kick? And I said he bounces before he dives, which means he's got an upward.
You know that little. I know what you're talking about.
I can only dive up because I'm going upwards at that point. So these are just tweaks. And I really wish Steele was still our goalkeeping coach. This is stuff he used to talk about all the time, and he still does when I see his videos now. But you've got to be still. You've got to be still, and the movements have to be small. The smaller and more still you can be, the bigger presence you have, because they don't know what you're going to do. And then it's about your reaction speed and micro steps. It's not a criticism. It's just like, this guy's getting beat, and you're like, how he's pulling off these saves? He's not really making a mistake, and we're conceding a fucking goal. That's like, are we cursed? You know, when I'm seeing things like Inana's played 10 games, conceded 15 goals. Lemon's played 10 games, conceded 15 goals. I'm like, no, they are so far apart as goalkeepers. He's not throwing in at his own net, is he? And standing on his technique is
by far better than not everybody's better than Onana does, just to be fair. You know, Onana is a terrible goalkeeper. But you know, I think Senne Lammens was maybe my man of the match tonight. I think he had a good game. You know, Brashmano comes in and say, Amorim on the performance. It wasn't perfect, but we were in control of the game, and losing 2 points was really frustrating. And, you know, that's stating the obvious. It wasn't perfect, far from. Everybody knows it wasn't perfect. We were in control of the game. It's a truth with some modifications, I would say. But it's really frustrating losing the 2 points.
So this is what I've just said. So that's his comment, right, in his interview. Yep. What have I just been saying? He's matching up to what they will do. So when I used to play against a 5-man midfield, and you played 4-4-2, right, back in the day, Jarvis. Pretty much you played 4-4-2, or someone went, do you know what? I'm going to put 3 midfielders in the middle of the park, and we're going to play one up top. You know, so it was 4-5-1 was the counter, because you had the extra midfielder. We could have done that. We could have outnumbered them by saying, you two, you're not strikers, you're bloody midfielders, get back and help Casemiro. And then the next thing you know, you've got a box midfield, and we outnumber their 3 in the middle, because if they're playing wide, we've now got an extra player in the middle of the park, and we play the same formation, but they didn't work hard enough.
No, they didn't. So going on the momentum of the game, as you see, we are in red and Wolves is in yellow. So they have their chances. We have our chances. The momentum shifts almost. It's an end-to-end game, as far as I can see. If you go by the stats, if you go by possession, we have 57% possession. Okay. 0.81 xg, and they produce 1.02. 15 shots for United, 11 for Wolves, and 2-1 in big chances.
Interesting stats, that. That's interesting stats because Sesko smashed the post with a header.
Yep.
So I class that as a big chance. And also we scored. Now I know they won't class the goalkeeper clawing one off the goal line from the defender as a chance, but that does actually have an XG attached to it. Because as soon as it's gone past the goalkeeper, it's going in. So because that goes on the goalkeeper's preventing XG. Do you see what I mean? Because he made the save. But there was other chances, like the disallowed goal, I know doesn't affect XG. These stats, big chances. I think we had more than 2 big chances. Surely we had more than 2 big chances. Because you've only got to scroll back up and look. We almost scored 2 before they did.
Yeah, but they also have more than 1 big chance. Depends how you look at it.
Got up, had a header, bang. Yes, it went to the keeper's chance.
If you go back to all the Lamin saves.
No, I get that, but I'm saying they've got a 1 point something XG. They're over 1 goal XG. Their goal wasn't a tap-in.
No. They had bigger chances than we had. If you go by the stats.
1 goal. So that means you've had 2 fairly 7.5 normally, and you'd be 1.5. This is what I never understand, this XG. 1 goal is 1 goal. So I expected you to score a tap in. That's +1, yeah? Their header was a brilliant header back across the goal. And he had the whole goal to aim at, to put it back. That's what it felt like. But Sesko also got up, headed one, keeper catches it. He headed one against the post. We scored a deflected goal, so that wasn't even an XG. That wouldn't be marked down as XG. I believe it was going off target from what I saw when he hits it. So there was other Sesko, the shot which gets deflected and Dorgu puts it in. But the shot from Sesko was an XG chance. So I don't know where these stats sometimes come from. They don't seem right.
No, well, I'm not a scientist.
I don't like there was more. We had more from. We scored 1 goal, but we should have had at least 2 or 3.
But again, I agree a little bit with the chat boxing straight talk to say we were in control is very delusional in my opinion, and I think this is what my point is on Amorim. Also, other comments, Rúben on George Zirkzee. Thank you, Rashmana, for the updates. He says he just needs to do his part to show his talent because he's a talented guy. He needs to step up in the duels because the rest. He has that. The fans love it, and just to do his job and have fun.
So that's the manager telling the player, "You're not working hard enough for the team." That's my interpretation of that.
Very subtle way of saying it. I would rather him just pointing him out. Telling him.
But if he's going on loan, he doesn't want to try and fight for a tackle and come off on the wrong side of it. I would never play a player if I know going out the door because they don't want to get injured. Surely everyone in here can agree with that. It doesn't need to be that. It could be your friend changing teams or changing jobs. They're just, why would I put myself at risk?
Yeah. And also Amorim on the place missing today, not using anything as an excuse. We tried to put 2 strikers in and then conceded from a set piece. Today was not our day. So are we blaming bad luck? Is this where we are now? Are we blaming bad luck?
But we didn't put strikers in. We don't own strikers. If I wanted to put a striker in, you start Obi, an out-and-out striker.
Yeah.
Over someone that we literally calls himself a 9.5.
Yeah.
But you are right. That's saying today wasn't our day.
Oh, it's not. It wasn't, but
clearly it wasn't our day, right?
Clearly. If we can go with any other positives, what can you take from today's game? I like Luke Shaw's overlapping. I like that he constantly helped out in going into attack, almost like the old Luke Shaw on the left back. And I like Sesko's movement. I like Lammens' saves. What else? what else do we got from this game? That's positive.
I like the fact that Dorgu's performance didn't drop off. So we say we moved him back to the other side, but I felt like he still was constantly offering something. He didn't really get caught out
Heaven
by
was decent again. I agree. Heaven was good.
Heaven, obviously, the way he stepped in, took that ball off and played the pass, and now he's stepping forward from the back. So yeah, good on the ball. I think Sesko is still he's getting some opportunities. Now he needs to start putting them away. So it's a step-by-step process.
Yeah,
there were a few positives there, but there were positives at the wrong moment. So it's again, like luck. It's Martinez is back and looks fit. You know, that's a positive. He was definitely leading them because he was telling people when to get up and leave it for the goalkeeper. And at times I could hear him on the microphone shouting at players. So positive. I'll tell you one positive, and this might get clipped up. This might be controversial. I think we look more solid in our midfield without Bruno, with Ugarte and Casemiro. I don't think it's perfect, but I don't see that big hole get created.
No,
when we're coming out, as in someone going too early. But today they did get exposed by our 10s not dropping back. But if we had Mount and Mbeumo, they would have.
It would have been a different game.
It would have been a different story.
Yeah,
that would have looked really solid. So that's quite interesting. Something I'm certainly keeping an eye on how those two are playing. Obviously, we would love to see Ugarte out and Kobe in while Bruno's out injured. Yeah. But I'm seeing less Hollywood balls. I'm seeing more attractive football, Jarvis.
Yeah.
It's not working, but it's an attempt.
It's less creative. We are not opening up, carving up the other teams by doing this. We are more control. I agree, and I have talked about this. I want to see more control from these guys, but again, I think we lack a little bit, especially in the last third. But on the positives, we played a couple of youngsters. A couple of new guys came on again, and
I think before we talk about the youngsters, you've got a little super chat come through.
Oh yeah. We have a big up Jonathan Lilienberg coming in, member for 1 month with his free membership chat, coming in and say, GG, glory, Man United. We just need to hope that Glazer Ineos sell. We can hope.
I'll keep an eye on the Ineos one. That's all I can say at the moment because of what they've got business problems. But that means that we won't get any investment into the club this January like we did last year.
The billionaires.
Billionaire problems, right?
Yeah.
Who would want them? We got. So I was. You can imagine I probably had a smile on my face because the players that are coming on are the ones I sort of expected to come on. The Fletcher, the Mantaros, and like I say, Obi didn't get on. Rather than I could see why he wouldn't play Lacey in this game against those players. And we sort of say that's what I said last night on the preview. I said no, I feel Mantaro's got more chance of playing, and he actually brought him on. I was a little bit of a fist bump. Guys, go on! I was right. I knew he'd get him on there, but then he played him in the wrong position. So mind blown. But then he looked out of place. I'm not going to lie. He looked a bit starstruck, a little bit. Maybe we asked a little bit.
I don't remember much. We had a bad cross at one time, but
that was a swing and a miss, wasn't it? That was like, I haven't played golf in 2 years. Slice, and I don't think Fletcher done anything wrong when we dropped him back in alongside into midfield alongside Casemiro.
No.
But
at least he has work rate. He moves his legs.
And this is what I mean about the youth. It's great bringing these players through, but in the front line, the front three, we don't play that way. They don't know how to play that way.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, what you do in training and what you do in a match, totally different. Totally different. The intensity is not going to be there. They're not kicking lumps out of each other anymore. See, I think people think he's not good enough because he played too many safe passes. I think that's what people.
I remember Kobe Mainoo's first game. I think he came on. Was it under Ollie? No, it was on the Ten Hag.
No, it wasn't.
But one of his first games,
Hag
he played everything safe. I saw nothing.
Well, what do you think the first thing you tell a young player? Just go out there, keep it simple, don't give the ball away, and don't try anything stupid in the wrong situation. If you get a chance to have a shot, have a shot. Otherwise, keep the ball moving. And I feel like that's what Fletcher's playing himself into the first team.
Yeah.
And he's not the first. People don't remember the class of 92. That's what they were told. Just keep it simple. Give it to me. Give it to someone who can do something better with it.
Yeah.
And you get used to doing it at this speed. You've done it at 18s. You've done it at 21s. You've come into our training. Now this is welcome to the big leagues. Because this is the fastest you'll ever have to play football. You go to an international career, it won't be this quick. You go play in any other league, it won't be this quick. Look how quick those players are on top of him. And it's not one, it's two at a time. Because that's how everyone presses. So I liked him coming on. I felt for him a bit because they weren't used to being in those positions. But at the same time, they didn't shy away. When they made a mistake, Jarvis, you just said it. When they make a mistake, get up. Don't roll on the floor waving your arms around. They got up and tried to get the ball back.
I rate Fletcher. I think he's a good up and coming guy. He just needs a little bit more time, and coming in. This is the problem right now. The environment is not right for any of these young guys to coming in and shine. They walk off the pitch probably with a negative experience. Not feeling it. They're not bubbling over and buzzing after a win and feeling, I was part of Man United, but now they are like holding their head down, and and this is what's wrong with the environment at the moment. So it's always tough, bringing on these young players, and not many of them just comes in bursting and firing right away. We talked about we had the long debate yesterday on what's his name, the right winger, Shea Lacey. Yeah, I think I saw a little bit on his 15 minutes cameo. He came in. I thought he had a little bit of that mentality. He wanted to take the opportunity. He didn't want to play it safe. And for me,
when he hit that shot, he took the one touch and he tried to bend top corner. That's the right kind of mentality, but physicality, he's off the pace. Physically, he's off the pace currently, but that means he's got potential. Mantaro had the physicality, but he really did look scared out there tonight. That's what I felt. It took him a couple of passes. He kept like one touch, play it back, one touch, play it back. Don't give me the ball. And then he got a chance to face someone up. He took him on. It's a bad cross. But he got back up, and do you know what? He tried to take him on again. Defender cut the ball out.
Yeah,
that's the mentality that these United players were meant to be raised with. Hey, you ain't never going to get past him if you don't try and take him on again until you do. When you take him down the right, make sure you come inside on the left. Keep him thinking. So it's.
Do you think this question is it's insinuating Fletcher, his dad, being in the leadership of Man United? Do you think it's part of it?
Why is Fletcher ahead of Kone? Because Kone's only played a handful of games because he spent half the season out injured so far. So Fletcher's have earned their spot when Kone's coming back from injury. Simple as that.
But
why Kone's been out
I get what
injured.
he's trying to say. Do you think they are a form of nepotism in Man United?
I've seen the Fletchers play at both levels, and they stand out. They never give the ball away. Kone hasn't been playing, so there's no nepotism. There's nepotism when Kone is heads and tails above, and they're not even starting for the 21s. When Kone's been on the bench.
What about Amorim's son and brother-in-law? We
That's
talk about
negative.
Bruno and Dallo a lot of the time.
Yeah, no, that and that I sort of like Bruno. We understand he's a world-class player, but he doesn't necessarily, in my opinion, fit how Manchester United want to play. And he's trying his best. But Dallo, what can we say? But we haven't said, Jarvis.
No.
You know, it's like if he doesn't do it, he can pull the plug on Amorim's job, because I just don't get it. All he's on today. What did Dallo offer today? A long throw. It was back to that kind of Dallo performance.
Yeah, long throw-ins. That's basically it. That's what he produces. But he was mainly defensively tonight. He played like a right back, not overlapping, not helping out. I think our right-hand side was dead.
So when Mentaro came on, and we know he's going to struggle, that right back overlapping to create him space is really, really important. It is, because that little bit of extra space is what he's going to need. That's going to give him confidence. It's a bit like when you train a kid. You don't train a kid in a small box going, don't lose the ball, I'm going to pass you the ball. If it goes outside that, you're going to have to run laps. You start in a big box, and the box shrinks over time. It's the same as when you introduce a young player into that. You try and create them as much space. When you haven't got space, just bounce the ball back, or I'm not going to give it to you. Find the space.
Yeah. Another comments coming from Rosmano. Jose Martinez said this. I'm really disappointed. We can't do this at home. We have to win at home, and our opponents must suffer. It's very frustrating. And I think Martinez, he feels, and he's one of the leaders. And I saw it was France who was asking, where are the leaders in all of this? Why don't they take the game off the scruff of their neck and just charges on and gives us the win?
He is a leader. He breathes leadership.
Yeah.
Now, whether his leadership's probably better than his talent, so I think he is a top leader. I'm not sure he is a top defender, but he's passionate, and you know what, that can sometimes take you so much further than your talent. Yeah, because it's about that hard work and that effort of not giving up. So earlier, this is pretty much similar to like what I'm saying. We can't play like this. We're at home. We can't be like that at home.
No,
he's come out and said it as well. So it's not just me being a fan thinking you can't play like that at home. At home, it needs to be a fortress. At home, I'm going to break your legs. You're not coming out of here with a point, let alone 3 points. And that's how we used to have a fortress. But those kind of mentality leaders have gone.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, they left the club in quite a big fashion, and ever since that, we haven't had them.
No,
we've never replaced them. And you can't just go out and replace a leader, because it's about what you do, not what you say. We know leadership will put you in the thing, and then come at me again, and I'll hit you again.
Yeah.
He's our Rocky. That's why I see him.
It worries me a little bit when I see players like Cunha, his pettiness, laying on the ground. Okay, he should have had a free kick a couple of times, but again, it worries me because he's one of the guys we have to rely on. He's Premier League proven. He needs to step up. He needs to come into games like this and know, it's against his old club. I know he feels the pressure. Maybe he's a little bit too excited. Maybe he wants to prove himself too much. But he needs to figure out how to control himself in games like this. I know he wants to score. I know he wants to be the shining star. But
But that's why
at least do the basics. You can run hard. You can work hard. Don't lay on the ground. And if someone kicks you, kick them back. Get a yellow card. I don't care. Do something.
Yeah, exactly. And as soon as you are rolling around on the floor and you're not getting those fouls, and like you said, do I think that rolling around on the floor, how's the ref going to react? And he's just going to laugh at him and give him less free kicks. You've got to take that player off the pitch. So again, you have to notice that. But he is our ball carrier. He was our only ball carrier. But he's so slippery, isn't he? You think, oh my God, he's going to do that, and he's pulling the ball out of midair and knocking it on with his knee or his hip or something just to be able to carry it forward. It's very beach soccer-esque. But no, I'm just seeing some of these saying about, we needed a leader. A leader would have won us that game tonight. But you don't have one leader in a successful football team. You have 5 or 6, and we speak about it all the time. And we literally only spoke about it last night. Goalkeeper, centre back, centre midfielder, striker. That's fine. We've got Martinez as what we would deem the closest thing to. Well, I'm not going to say a Roy Keane or a Brian Robson, but someone who plays with that heart and that passion and the must-win attitude. The others might have that attitude, but they don't show it. And that's why we don't believe it. I'd say Harry Maguire maybe has that. Hence the reason he'll always get us that winner at the end, because he'll put everything in the back of the net. So him and Martinez, for that reason, I would love as a centre-back partnership. Who else shows it? Oh, wait. De Ligt. Another defender.
I would say in this season, I'm impressed by Luke Shaw. I think he has shown leadership. He shows experience in certain situations.
But another defender.
But another defender. Guys, I'm starting to miss players like Nobby Styles comes Barman in with, and we become too soft, and they go past our players. Yeah, I agree, but I have one chance I want to show you, but this caught my mind. And it's a situation where they are on the break. The goalkeeper putting it long against Luke Shaw and Arcadare, and Luke Shaw puts in a terrible header. He tries to control it, heads it invert.
He's trying to cushion that down, isn't he? He's trying to cushion that into one.
Yeah, he's trying to cushion it down. So if you look at it, it ends up with us losing the ball. But in a situation like this, there's no nonsense. Luke Shaw understands the danger in this position. I think you see a blue arm down in the right-hand corner. So it would have been really dangerous if he has gone with the ball. There would have been 3 against 2, and Martinez would have been dragged out.
And so Shaw doesn't have that recovery pace anymore. So he's not getting back if he lets him go past him. He's not recovering.
No, but I've been asking for this. This is what I want. I want players to understand the danger of the situation, and he clearly understands the danger. There's no nonsense when he comes in with this tackle. Look at him. The
yeah. You're not going past me.
He didn't even get a yellow, and that's.
No, he did. He did. That was the one where he books him, and then he books the guy who's on the floor because he did the imaginary yellow card as well.
Oh,
so they both got booked. Okay. But again, I remember talking about this a few weeks back about Casemiro. That's where Casemiro tries to make most of his fouls to stop a counter attack, and he's normally the only player on the pitch who does it.
Yeah.
Now Luke Shaw's sort of getting back to doing it again, and he can, because the yellow cards will be wiped after tonight's game. So Dorgu didn't get booked. If Dorgu got booked, he was out the next match.
Okay, so every yellow card is wiped out from now on for the rest of the.
I believe it's wiped out at the change of like the half season.
Okay, nice.
Because I remember someone getting only a 1-game ban for 10 yellow cards or something like that, when he should have had a 2-game ban. Once, and someone goes to me, but once you go past a certain state in the season, you can't have that yellow because it's too long. Like, you don't. It's
almost like the World Cup when they wipe out the yellow cards when you come to the semi-finals or the group. Yeah. So I'm not sure. It's one of those rules that constantly changes. So maybe if someone wants to Google it or tell us in the chat, Rashmano, you'll probably know. But I'm pretty sure there's a wipeout point, and you try your hardest to get there. Because that was, and it has something to do with players getting Christmas off, the accumulation, and
I think that's why Casemiro was pissed off. He had to make the foul one game early, so he had to play on Boxing Day rather than take Boxing Day off like most Brazilians try and get that off. We all know about the Neymar stories.
Yeah, we know. Always injured. Always injured. We haven't talked about. Let's just analyze the goals and be done with, because I have to admit, after every game, my head is full. I watch the game, I analyze, and it's like, and when we don't get the result, I'm so frustrated. I need to sleep on it. I need to evaluate. I need to think of it, and there
you go. But Barman just said, even the commentator said something. The yellow cards are wiped out in the new year. So yeah,
okay.
And that's it. That was the last game of this year. So yeah, they must be wiped out in January 1st, which is what I thought it was anyway.
Yeah. Okay. That confirms it. Palma confirms it. So the first goal, it's I think it's really good from Aiden Heaven. How he, I talk about this a lot. The wide centre backs being aggressive and he's even is he the central centre back? Yeah, he is.
No, he played right side.
Oh, okay. So he stops the break.
A bad tackle, but he wins the ball with such a bad tackle.
And being left-footed, he automatically inverts when driving with the ball. In a situation like this, you have one guy standing still, as always. It's Zirkzee. Why not go on a diagonal run or something? Try to create some space, open some space. But no, he's just standing still. But again, when he comes in, it's crowded. Zirkzee just stands there, wants the ball. But Zirkzee, I think he believes in his ability, and in this instance, he was right.
Yeah.
So,
right. You are right though. Again, Zirkzee standing still when he should be making a penetrating run to try and get in on goal.
It's ball watching. It's just ball watching. You're standing like this. Give me the ball. Give me the ball. Give me the ball. Why?
Well, yeah. As you play this through, I think this is more luck than just because look, the player's made the run and was hoping to get the ball because his arms were already up in the air, like play me in. It didn't come, but he comes out, and it's ricochets here.
I think he flicks it with his heel. He tries to flicks it 1-2 with Aiden Heaven with his heel, and the ricochets from the defender. I think it's Krejci, or what's his name, the guy who scored.
Yeah.
And Zirkzee, brilliant soul, and
that touch there is superb. The quick foot with the soul roll, that is a superb touch. But he should never have been trying a little back heel flick to get the ball, because you could have just cushioned it. You could have just opened your body out, instead of being like this and try and flick it behind. You could just open your body out. But the little soul roll to send the defender, because you can see he's leaning on him, is executed perfectly. But the shot, Jarvis, the shot is horrendous. It's an absolute shank into the ground that bounces up and hits a guy in a midriff. Yeah. And it goes in super slow motion.
But a goal is a goal. I'll take it. I'll take it.
How many times have I said I'll take a 1-0 win off someone's backside?
What do you think the XG is on that goal?
2.2.
Can't be.
There's a miss hit that I feel is going wide.
It must be. I have to check. The goal is here. The XG on Zirkzee's goal is 0.12. 0.12.
Yeah, there you go. I also think the keeper gave up on it. I think he thought it was going to spin away more than it did. I was like, he could have really probably turned around and dived back.
So Mark, answer the question. Trafford Elite challenged you. Why are you hating on the goal? He scored. That's all that matters. And you're right.
Well, no, that's what we're saying. I many a time have said I will take a goal off someone's backside, because it's still a goal is a goal.
Yeah.
But when you see that was an opportunity again, and he absolutely hits the ball down into the ground But bounces up. If anyone knows about Mesut Ozil, it was a Mesut Ozil's skill. But this was an actual shank. He mishits the ball that badly on a swipe. He hits it down into the ground. It bounces up, hits the player, and goes in. It's worse than Casemiro's goal against Fulham. But I didn't whinge about Casemiro's goal. It was going wide. It hit the defender and went in the opposite corner. You know, and he shouldn't have been shooting from that range. That shot wasn't on either. He's literally, and shanked it. It wasn't. And the fact that it's a 0.12 chance to go in says how bad a shot and chance it was as well. It's not so he's hit a scream and they've stuck the foot out and it's the keeper's dived low and it's gone high in the net.
But you get where Trafford Elite comes from. What he's trying to say, because a goal. Why can't we just enjoy a goal? And I have to say I enjoyed it. I'm glad that we scored, but again, it's Zirkzee, so it's Zirkzee. Maybe I'm too critical. Maybe I'm hypercritical at the moment towards Zirkzee, because I think he's been so poor in every other aspects of the game. But the goal was good.
Yeah, the goal's a goal. We created a chance. Heaven tried to create a chance. We got lucky. We swung a foot at it, and it goes in.
Yeah, maybe you're right, Trafford Elite. I think maybe I have an agenda against Zirkzee at the moment. It's just me. But I really don't rate him.
And offers us nothing, but he's a skillful footballer. The manager's just basically come out and said that in his comments as well. He's got all the skill, and he needs to offer us more in his other aspects. I.e., running, going into tackles, fighting for the ball. If he offers that and he has all that skill, he's on the same level as the Berbatov. Yeah, because Berbatov was a lazy footballer, but we don't speak bad of him.
Boxing comes in and say, I'm not a Zirkzee fan in this team. He just doesn't fit by taking him off after he scored. It's wrong, in my opinion. A goal is a goal. It's the hardest thing to do on the pitch. Yeah, it's a valid point. But I think we as a team suffered because we had him, or the only solution would have been taking off Cunha or Sesko at that moment and keep Zirkzee on and playing Zirkzee as a 9 and just let him stand there and hoping.
Well, that's what I said, wasn't it, Jarvis? I said yesterday, if he played the formation we played, Zirkzee should play as the out-and-out striker. Sesko comes down to left-sided 10 and Cunha goes right-sided 10. For me, that was a more balanced, and you keep Zirkzee as far up the pitch and as far away from getting in people's way as possible. Because he does slow the ball down. He does want to do a trick. He is a nutmeg. Everything he does, he looks for a nutmeg. He looks for a flick. So even that goal, when he tries to flick it behind, he's trying to flick it between the players' legs.
But we are not the right team for Zirkzee. Let's say him playing for Real Madrid or someone else.
Well,
it'll probably work.
What he's going to Roma, so we'll find out. But he's very much an Ajax striker. I would say. Yeah. He's a talented footballer. Zlatan
was like that in the beginning.
Yeah.
When he changed his game to being like the man of steel, the hard man. And I think this is my problem with Zirkzee. I think he's too soft at times, and he doesn't take command of the game. He could have done so much more because of his physicality, his size, his abilities. I expect more from a player like him, but let's not make this about Zirkzee.
No, we take the goal. You're right. The goal is a goal. We looked at it. It was about how Aiden Heaven stepped in, took the ball, and that created a chance. Now, there was ricochets, and if you listen, we never criticised because I said the sole roll is what makes that goal. Where he rolls his foot so cleanly across it, executes it perfectly, and then you've just got to get the shot off. And unfortunately, it was a really bad shot. He could have pinged it in the top corner, and I wouldn't be saying anything, but he shanks it, and we got lucky. That's facts. You can see it. You can see it in the video replays. It's not hate. It's facts. So he also flicks it. When we look at the next goal, their equaliser. Zirkzee's the one who puts a really poor defensive header off that he flicks on.
Yeah, I haven't analyzed this goal that much, so let's just have a look and see what happened on the corner comes in. It's a flick on and header.
Yeah, but you're the front man. You're not ever flicking it on. He mistimed the jump because he went too far forward.
So Zirkzee is here. Is it Zirkzee who is in the first duel?
Yeah, Zirkzee who flicks it on to the back post, unchallenged.
Okay. Let's look at it again. I guess we're gonna go to the right moment. Okay, so he goes high, but he missed times.
He might take a nudge. I wouldn't mind seeing it from another angle. I know, obviously, we're not a TV channel. And we can't.
No, he wins the header, but he flicks it on. It's Zirkzee who flicks it on.
Yeah, he should either be putting that behind or putting it out of play. But he gets caught under the ball. Now that could have been where Shaw and the defender go in together and sort of just give him a little nudge, and that could be why his head's come back. But it's just not.
I think it's Mosquera, the centre back, the big centre back, isn't he?
Yeah.
No, maybe it's Arukadare, number 15. Who's number 15? I'm not sure. I got to check the lineup. Give me 2 seconds.
It's a high ball back across.
And no, it's Mosquera. It's Mosquera. Yeah, definitely.
That happens. But 2 things for me here. We should have at least one player on a post. And everyone should be. I don't like the way we set up for corners. I know Stu doesn't like the way we set up for corners. We're very zonal. And what all that's meaning is that I think that's Dorgu. Is it Dorgu?
But I don't like this.
Yeah. No, but he's stuck between 2 players. Look, he's got one in front of him, but he's keeping an eye on. And now he's got one running off the back of him. That's what I don't like. If we had a player on the post, at least he can come out and challenge for that ball while watching for it. I wouldn't like him coming out off the post because you never leave your post. But yeah, this is our defensive structure for set pieces, and I don't like it because look, you've got 2 defenders there, Ugarte and Cunha, doing nothing to this ball coming in.
Well, you always set up like this. You have 2 players out to take if the ball comes outside the box to press the shot and stuff like that. But
yeah, no, I agree, and it's just our defensive structure. I don't agree with it from set pieces, because something like this is quite easy to happen. You only need a nudge, and you're flicking it on for the other team. And you don't get a good head on the ball. It only takes a nudge in the back, doesn't it, Jarvis, for you to head to roll backwards and you skim it on from. But
where is Okay. So
this goes behind him on the smaller player. Yeah. Our 2 tallest players are at the front post, and normally you would have one on the front post.
But we have Aiden Heaven centrally, so at least we have like 3 big guys standing there waiting for the ball.
Yeah, Aiden Heaven's in that melee with Martinez and Luke Shaw in the middle. Marking the 2 players. One is doing a
zonal Casemiro. Casemiro is also there behind Martinez.
Casemiro's the one who goes to the next ball. So as you roll this back along, I sort of trying to keep track of the goalkeeper's movements here, because this is where I was saying I think this is where he can improve. It's not a mistake, it's an improvement. So he's come all the way. He's set, but he does not take a step to his side. So he's set.
Yeah, but he needs to stop the momentum because he's on his way to his.
He does, Jarvis.
And then
he stops his momentum. Let it roll back. I know you can't play it at like speed. If you play at the slowest speed, and you will notice he stops before that ball is headed. He stops and he's in a set position. His knees are not together, but they're square. 2 knees over his feet. There's no weight distribution either way. And even the hands
he makes that little jump. I see it. He makes that little jump. Yeah.
And that's what stops him from being able to take a sideways step. So you can see for his dive, he's going from a wide stance. Imagine you were standing now with a wide stance. You're not throwing your body across that far, considering if you just have a slightly more narrow thing and you quickly move your feet and dive.
Yeah, but you got to realize in this situation, he doesn't know that a header is going this way.
Oh, no, of course he doesn't. But David Raya didn't know
he needs to be level.
When he pulled off that penalty.
Now, I'm not saying, because I think, the header could easily come this way too, to his other side, and then he needs to be ready to jump
Yeah,
down.
it's
So
not
I
him being
think he
in the
makes
wrong
that in jump
position.
just to level himself, just to be
Yeah, but
there to
it's
both
what
sides.
they call it micro steps. So when we're coaching, it's called micro steps. So you make it the smallest step possible, but it's just creating the smallest bit of momentum to help you dive. And David Raya is probably the best in the league at doing it at Arsenal. He's a small goalkeeper, and he just goes. Again, this is not a criticism. This is like the goalkeeping coach will look at this. What do you think you could do better? And it'll be, I probably should have attempted to take one step and dive. Now, he dives and thinks, can I save it? As that's the quickest option to do. He, in his brain processing speed, it might be 0.1 of a second to react to this. Yeah. And he goes, in the future, I could attempt the step. Maybe I don't make the save because I don't get across, but maybe I go further across my goal. But the ball is further across me in flight. So I've got to react to it. So it's more of a backwards dive. And it's just a learning curve. And I love Lemons. I think he's offering us so much in calmness and distribution. And I don't feel like he makes the same mistake twice. The only one I've seen at the moment is this bounce. This little bounce in his set. And we all have them. We all have bad habits.
But Mark, not to focus, because I see the chat now. They're talking about Ugarte, they're talking about Cunha, how they are setting up, and we mentioned it, but if you go back a little bit, someone is mentioning Cunha should stay in between. So let's say Cunha should be around here. Let me just use this one; it's better. And Ugarte should drop down.
Yeah,
that would probably be a better setup in this header or this corner.
So what I don't get. And boxing, you're so on this, like zonal marking does not work on corners, man for man. It's always been better. But the keepers, as having a son who is a goalkeeper, normally the keeper said, how do you want your defense to set up? Because you want to see the ball, right?
Yeah.
Do you want a player on the front post? Do you want a player on the back post? Where are you going to overcommit to? Are you going to overcommit to your front post, or are you going to overcommit to your back post? We have no one on the post. We also have no one stopping the player from being on the goalkeeper. We are literally halfway. We're 3 yards off the back byline. We've chosen to defend like that. If we had a player on the front post, that ball does not go in. It is that simple. Just having a player on the front post. Now, normally, last season when Amorim set up, Rasmus Højlund was always on our front post.
Yeah, it's true.
And I saw earlier,
he was terrible defending the front post, especially when.
No, but as a starting position, he was there. And I remember him having that fight with Tottenham, wasn't it? And they ended up throwing each other to the ground and everything, and into the posts, like trying grasping round it. But at the start of the season, so was Sesko. So we've opted not to put someone on the front post today, and it's cost us. So no point am I blaming the goalkeeper. I'm just saying he can learn from every goal that goes in, because I think he has that higher ceiling. If he chooses to learn, he goes towards that ceiling. If he doesn't, then he's never going to be as good as what he was, right? And let's be fair, nationality wise, he's got a great goalkeeper to learn from, as in Courtois. You know, and they're very similar.
But our goalkeeper coach is the old one in the coaching staff. They're the 62-year-old.
You've seen him worn up in Nana. I don't even know what he's doing. Like slapping the ball.
Is he 68 or 62? Something, someone.
He's almost 70, and he should not even be employed, let alone still at a top club. He's past our retirement age. You know what I mean, in our country. So
I don't know anything about goalkeeping, so I have to.
We do know about defending, Jarvis. If you're the small player, you tend to get put on the post, and just by putting you on the post, where that ball crosses the line, it's not in as far in the corner as everyone thinks it is. It says Diego Dallo, Wan-Bissaka, head it off the line, kind of placement because it's not high up, it's not low down, it's just a scoop header off the line. And it's not headed with real pace either. It's headed really accurately back across the goalkeeper. It's a really good header. But just by putting a player on the post, we that stops from going in. And I don't understand it because it's obviously something we've changed. So
I think we are 1 hour 45 minutes into the show. I think it's time to wrap it up. We need to analyze this game more. We need to figure out what went wrong. I will watch the game another time, and we will do another show, I believe. But today it's late. I know you guys need your beauty sleep and go to bed. I have work tomorrow, actually, on New Year's Eve.
Yeah. This time tomorrow, Jarvis. This time tomorrow.
Yeah. No, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll be in 26.
Yes. So this will be the last stream from the Tactical Devils in 2025. But 2026 will be another year. We will be back, and we will do another stream. Before we wrap up, I want to show you guys a short video of Stu and friends, because Stu is not in the studio today. He attended the game with Sean from United versus Everybody, and also his family. So his nephews, and so I will show you this video and before we wrap up the show. So let me just share it to you on screen. So let's just check if there's any sound. Yes. No sound. What's wrong with the sound? There's no sound. Okay. Sorry, I can't play it. There's something off with the computer. I need to download the clip again, but I don't have time. But Stu was with his friends. You know, we met up with Sean and his mate. So on Old Trafford. So there you see. Big up, guys. I hope you had a really, really, really good time at Old Trafford, even though the game sucked and the result was terrible. So I hope to see you on the next show, Stu. And I think it's time to wrap it up. Mark, when was the last time you attended a game at Old Trafford?
At Old Trafford, I've been to more away games recently than I have home games because it's so hard to get the tickets for home games, and I've got people who work for clubs. So the last game I obviously went to was Brighton, because obviously that's my doorstep. I went Brentford and a few others around London, Tottenham, Arsenal, West Ham. But Old Trafford, I can't. It's been too long. It must have been 2 years ago. To get tickets for that. And that was back in the day of how easy it was to transfer the tickets over. Now, as the chat will tell you, this bullshit about if you don't go and you've got to transfer it or sell your ticket back, it just becomes more problems than anything. And, I get someone's ticket for the club want to sell for 400 quid and it only costs them 40. It's just wrong. But yeah, it's easier for me living on the south coast to go to other games down here. Bournemouth, that was another one I went to. It's easier to get to them and cheaper than going up to Manchester and costing me almost $1,000 for me and my son to get to a game.
Yeah, it's expensive. But imagine Sean going all the way from the States to watch Man United.
I'm not complaining compared to what Sean's paid.
Yeah. But I hope Sean had a good time, and guys, go subscribe to Sean's channel, United versus Everybody, and it's a great channel. He does a lot of good.
You'll see Sean's bumped into a few other people there. I think Paul Scholes, and there was some other players he bumped into as well, wasn't it? I think I saw some photos of ex-players and that. So well worth the thing. If he thought about it, I wonder if he got Paul Scholes to do a shout out for his channel. That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
That would be amazing. Probably not, but he's doing his own thing.
I didn't think about it when I bumped into Rio last, because his son obviously trains literally across what 15 minutes away from the
You should
training
get
ground.
Rio on the phone and get him to Tactical Devils.
Yeah,
That would
get
be
him to
great.
do that, really, and that would cost me a fortune. That
Ah.
guy does nothing for anybody without
Yeah,
money.
that. Oof. Well, we don't have the budget for hiring those guys. That's for sure. Guys, it's been a great show. I will redirect you to Noradin's channel. I think he's still live. If you want to have Noradin's take on it. So guys, stay tuned and you will be redirected after the show ends. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank Mark for being the co-host tonight. Boxing Straight Talk, Barman, DJ Superfly Guy, Rush Mano, all of you legends, Danny B, and I want to thank. Well, we had a super chat from Bilal in the start, so I want to thank Bilal for the donation. So thank you guys, and we will be back on the next one. So I would just want to end.
Next year.
We will be back next year, and I want
Yeah,
to
see you all next year. Have a good new year.
have a good new year. Yeah, I want to wish you a happy Christmas. No, a happy New Year. That's how you
Happy
say
New
it.
Year. Christmas is
Happy
gone.
New Year. Yeah, Christmas is gone. Christmas is gone. But we will be back. We have another game coming up. Is it the FA Cup or is it the Leeds game first?
No, league game first. I think we've got 2 games before the FA Cup.
Okay. Well, we will see you on the next one. Everybody have a good one and have a good night. Bye-bye.
Take care.